Dizzy, I'm down at Edward B. Forsyth Wildlife Refuge in Galloway, New Jersey. I'm hiding in the Jeep because it's really windy out there. But I had started a series a while ago about identifying birds. I call it the Esses of birds, and I had done one S, which was size. So today, I figured this is a good place to talk about the next S, and that's shape. Now what I have here is a lot of ducks, and let's face it, if you close your eyes and think about it, you can pretty much picture the shape of a duck. And there's probably other birds that if you even don't see them clearly, you know what it is. I'm thinking like a penguin. I recognize a dove if I see it sitting on the wire, but not sure what all ducks we have here. I've not been able to get a really good look at any of them. But different birds have different shape. Now when I'm talking about the shape, there are different things that you can take into consideration. One, of course, is the shape of the body. Is it a fat bird? Is it a skinny bird? Is the body kind of long and narrow? Is it kind of roundish? You think about an owl. The body on an owl definitely looks a lot different than the owl on a hummingbird. So that's one thing that you want to look at. Another thing, some birds have little tufts of feathers on their head. They look almost like they have a mohawk. And not all birds have that. Think of your cardinal, your blue jay, they have that. And there's other birds as well. But that's another thing that you can look at for the shape. Another thing is the beak or the bill, whichever you prefer to call it. Some have some that are kind of skinny and narrow, and think about your beak on a hummingbird and compare that to a duck. Definitely a big difference. Or even your birds like hawks, eagles, things like that. They lots of times have a hook on the end, and that's useful for tearing up their prey. Some of them, depending on what they eat, looks about like they have teeth on the beak. So that's another clue that you can look at. Another thing with the shape, look at your legs. How long are the legs? What do the feet look like? Are they webbed feet like a duck? Or do they have talons like a hawk? So that's another thing to look at with the shape. And also with the legs, are the legs long and narrow or long and skinny? Or are they short? Also, where on the bird are the legs? Now, if you think about your penguin, they have these short little stubby legs and they walk standing up, look like a guy in a tuxedo. Whereas your ducks have their legs kind of like in the middle of their body. There are different types of ducks. There are ducks that are called dabbling ducks, and they're the ones that you see them with a rump up in the air as they're getting food from underwater. You have others that are called diving ducks, and with the diving ducks, their legs are farther back. It makes it easier for them to dive under the surface. And other birds that do that, loons, will go underwater. It can be kind of fun if you're trying to identify a bird and it keeps going underwater and pops up someplace else. Another shape that you can look at is the shape of the tail. Barn swallows have a V in the tail. Others have a tail that looks more like a fan. Some have long tails, some have short tails. These are all clues to looking at birds. Another thing that you can look at is the wings. Used to be around here, if I saw a big dark-colored bird flying overhead, I could pretty much assume that it was a turkey vulture. Well, we now have bald eagles in the area, and black vultures about 20 years ago started expanding their range north. And that's something that I see frequently now, but I can tell just by the shape of them flying which bird it is. The turkey vultures, when they fly, they have a slight V to their wings, and also there's a V on the underneath. The Black vultures are a chunkier bird. Their wings aren't as long. And your eagle, their wings look much skinnier than your turkey vulture do. And the shape of them when they're flying, pretty much straight out from the body. So these are all things you can think about when you're looking at the shape of a bird. Can't think of anything else, but if anybody else does and wants to share it, please leave it in the comments, and I will talk at you later.